Ayan, second series na tayo para sa unang araw ng week number 2. I'm together with my analyst here, Butters. Kamusta? Kamusta na ang laban na to, Butters?
Alam mo, it's clearly the momentum game for both of these teams. Kumbaga, confidence lang ang puhunan dito sa MPL and confidence ang makukuha kapag nanalo yung mga teams dito. Let's start with Blue Fire. Blue Fire didn't really win a series. They won a game versus Onyx.
Yes, totoo.
Magandang bagay yun kasi Onyx is still one of the best teams na meron tayo dito sa Pilipinas. Pero ang sabi ng Blue Fire, kahit natalo kami ng 0-2 sa NXP, we are still one of the front runners para dito sa MPL and walang tapon dito sa MPL na team.
Totoo. I mean, ito yung pinakamaganda talaga sa liga natin, Butters. It's going full circles, mga kaibigan. To be honest, Blue Fire, sobrang shaky nung unang laban nila against NXP Solid, as in for a 2-0 on your very first game on MPL Season 6. Let alone the second series, you did have a loss. Pero, may progress, which is a 1 win, and that's against Onyx PH, our runner-up from the previous Season 5 ng MPL. Now, both of these teams didn't have a great start sa week number 1 natin. Both of them hindi pa nanalo in a series. Though, we might actually talk about a little about Execration.
Kanina ko pag-usapan to.
Gigil ako eh. Gusto ko malaman talaga eh.
Execration is one of those teams na alam mong mainit talaga sila pag nagsimula yung season. And historically speaking, ladies and gentlemen, this team has won yung mga games nila, yung mga series nila ng maaga sa MPL. But let's talk about Execration later as we have Blue Fire ata coming up.
Yes, ito na. Sa ating mga screen, pakita muna natin ang mga players ng Blue Fire.
Before ng MPL, nag-aaral ako sa UP Diliman. Ang course ko is Sports Science. 1 year na lang. Nagka-baby ako. So after nun, doon dumating yung MPL. So parang naging better opportunity siya and better future. Kaya ginrap ko siya.
Dati pabigat ako sa pamilya ko. Tapos ngayon, pabigat na rin ako sa team ko. Ngayon nakapasok ako. Nagka-chance ako na ma-prove na may kwenta din ako.
Yun yung passion ko siguro maglaro. Tapos imbis na naglalaro ako nang di ako kumikita, pinasok ko itong pagiging pro, easy money.
Dati po pinapanood ko lang po sila. Parang gusto ko rin pong itry na makatapak po sa MPL stage po.
Hirap din mag-disappoint ng mga tao na naniniwala sa'yo.
At yun nga mga kaibigan, let's welcome here our roster for Blue Fire. Pinangungunahan ni Secret, Chu, Unseen, Karipsu, Fuzaken, and the newest kid on the block here sa MPL Season 6, Lims. Wow, what a minute to meet nung team na to, Butters. If something na pwede kong sabihin that consistent, pabigat daw siya. According to him, hindi lang sa team niya, pati sa pamilya niya. What can you say about that, Butters?
Ako yung nag-interview kasi sa mga teams na to, dun sa certain area na yon and dun sa certain minute to meet na yon. And I know for a fact na itong Blue Fire, napaka-chill nilang team. Si Lims, sabihin natin, medyo hindi pessimistic yung mga sagot na naging pabigat siya sa team niya. But still, alam natin na nag-enjoy itong bata. He's living the dream. And the thing is, ito yung pinapakita niya sa atin. Nung Onyx game, nung nanalo sila, he showed us na hindi lang siya puro hype. Kasi ang lakas ng hype dito sa batang to eh.
Totoo, totoo. If I'm not mistaken, ang hero niya noon was Esmeralda. Pero, Butters, let's expound more about Lims mamaya as we were about to have a minute to meet naman ang kalaban nila. That's gonna be Execration.
Yung wala pang ML schoolboy pa ako nun eh. College ako nun. Nakita ko sa Facebook yung yung Mobile Legends. After nun siguro Season 2, nagkaroon na yun. Naglaro na ako ng Mobile Legends.
Kaya ako nag-pro kasi gusto kong makaranas mag-champion. Gusto ko rin makipagkompetensya sa ibang bansa.
Para sa akin, kaya ako nag-pro kasi bago ako mag-Mobile Legends, naglalaro na ako na more on MOBA, yung MOBA games yung nilalaro ko. Gusto kong mapag-compete, gusto kong manalo ako sa ganito. Maging competitive ba?
Kasi ano yun, kailangan mo talaga sumagal pag gusto mo yung isang bagay. Kasi hindi mo agad yung makukuha eh.
And now to show you the team of Execration, pinangungunahan ni Etomax, Benny Cutie, Chaknu, Sagitnu, Hate, and Zapnu. And gusto ko balikan doon yung pinag-isinabi doon ni Benny Cutie, Butters. How competitive na ba sa tingin mo si Benny Cutie dito sa ating liga?
I think he has the potential to be one of the best players dito sa liga natin. It's just that, sabihin na lang natin, itong batang to, sabihin natin na medyo kailangan pa niya mag-adjust in terms of, just finding the right mixture. Kumbaga, sa pagiging aggressive at pagiging passive. Because at times, he could be really passive, at times, he could be really aggressive as well. So, kapag nahanap niya yung certain mixture na yun, I think Benny Cutie really has the potential to become one of the best players dito sa may liga natin. And etong batang to, mind you, may trivia lang ako, well-articulated sa lahat ng sinasabi niya, napakagaling magsalita na itong batang to. And sobrang seamless nung interview namin pag siya yung kinakausap ko.
Kumbaga, straight to the point.
Straight to the point. Nakikita mo yung sinabi niya kanina, gusto niya maging competitive. He gave it. Yung take na yon, usually, isang take lang yon. Siya yun.
Okay, siguro I have to take note of that just in case na magkaroon na tayo ng MPL Arena at yan yata yung mga magandang ma-interview in front of the stage si Benny Cutie. Pero siguro balikan natin ng konti as we were looking on the screens right now. On the game nila against Aura PH, what do you think about Zapnu not playing dito sa squad ng Execration ngayon?
For the longest time, sinasabi kasi ni Zapnu that he really wants to, step down and focus on drafting. Kasi Zapnu, as we all know, is a veteran ever since Season 1. And kung papansinin mo dito, from that Season 1 roster from Obs Gaming, wala na siyang kasama dito.
Oo.
Siya na lang yung natitira. As well as, may madaling nangyari yan si Ribo. Ribo, siya na lang halos yung natitira sa Brent.
Oo nga, no? Yung
si
kumbaga
EJ.
OG. Is that
si EJ. Pero kasi si EJ, nasa AE Valkyrie dati.
Oo, totoo.
So,
kasi it was 666 yung 6-man ng Ethermin way back
pero
season 1.
Pero yung nag-championship lineup, siya na lang yung natitira dun sa Brent Esports. Now, the thing is, Zapnu talaga, yun talaga yung fino-focus niya. Sabi niya, gusto niya na mag-stick to developing these players. He wants to stick to, drafting, all in all. Kasi, si Zapnu ngayon, ang ginagawa niya na he's trying to set up the foundation. Kumbaga, for the other players na meron siya.
Oo, for the younger roster ng Execration. No? Well, nagkaroon din ako like an interview with Zapnu. Oo, totoo yun. Yun nga, in terms of the drafting, mas pinaprioritize niya ngayon, specifically dito sa season na to. And meron siyang mga binigay na konting experience during their game during Season 5 na nag-account din for a loss kasi dalawa yung series nila doon sa araw na yon and yung sunod na series was they were going against Onyx PH. Yes, they did win yung Series 1, kaso nga lang nahirapan na sila kasi sila din mismo yung drafter. Pero yun na nga mga kaibigan, we will be talking more about these two teams pero mas may malalim na analysis dito na ihahatid sa inyo none other than Wolf.
Thanks so much, Robin Butters. Obviously, we're gonna be talking about the two teams that lost their series. Well, hindi ganun ka-impressive yung kanilang week number 1 when you look at just the stats. But for me, kung paano sila nag-perform in week number 1, they actually exceeded my own expectations about the team. In fact, Execration, you can really feel that they are hungry, I'd say, para sa ating MPL Season 6. They might not have Zapnu anymore. At siguro nagulat sila dun sa lineup ng Aura PH nung pinakita nila yung Diggy. But when you look at how they played that series, mula sa Game 1 until Game number 3, very impressive. The stats that you are now looking, hindi ganun ka-impressive. It's not that high when it comes to looking at Blue Fire. But what we do want to take note is that Blue Fire, all of a sudden, parang nagising sila nung kanilang game laban sa Onyx. I mean, obviously, yung first series nila, talagang disappointing if you're a fan of Blue Fire. But when you look at their bout against Onyx, doon mo masasabi na may future din, may potential itong team na to. But both of them, where did they both go wrong? So let's look at Execration first. They were up against it was a very tall task, kung sabihin natin, when they were playing against Onyx. And, against Aura, the champions, but they did perform well. Siguro, yung kanilang game number 3, which is important to take note dahil lamang na sila or at least may chance sila na manalo sa laban, but they weren't able to close it. That is also true with Blue Fire. Hindi ganon kagaling mag-close out na mga games ang Blue Fire. That's why they lose sometimes. But the difference is, Execration, actually, nagpapakita sila ng malupit na strategies na makikita mo na prepared talaga sila. Like, the way that they execute in the early stages of the game during their match against Aura, you kind of feel like they are indeed prepared. And they know how to react. And not only that, ang ganda rin ng performance individually ng kanilang mga players. That's one thing to take note. Now, for Blue Fire, I did have a chance to talk to one of their members and they did say na prepared din talaga sila. Na pinaganda nila to in their scrims perhaps or during their ranked games. However, bakit hindi nag-translate lahat na kanilang pinapare dun sa kanilang mga laban? It's probably because of chemistry. For me personally, there's no stat line that I can show you right now that can prove my point. But if you look at their games, if ni-replay mo yung mga laro dito ng Blue Fire, nafe-feel mo yun eh. They are very good when it comes to individual plays. At a certain point, mafe-feel mo yung camaraderie ng team na magtotropa sila. But when it comes to actual chemistry onto syncing their skills, dun tayo makakita ng konting disconnection. And that's one thing that Blue Fire might be able to fix. Now, looking at the player head-to-head match, it's Limbs versus Hate. And unfortunately, Hate leads this by a lot, to say the least. Napakataas ng KDA rate, average net worth, and game score of Hate compared to Limbs na, if you think about it, or also played more games. And why is it that the stat line of Hate is much better than Limbs? Well, I guess this is going to be attributed to both the play style of Execration as well as how poorly nag-perform in Blue Fire. So, the Hate is naturally our hyper carry, or at least yung parang china-channel nga nila, diba? If you look back at MPL Season 5, we call the strategy of Execration channeling the Hate. And how strong Execration can be is attributed also to how strongly they can channel the Hate, diba? So that's one thing that maybe separates the two. There's not much activation mula sa Blue Fire onto channeling their own carry, but when it comes to Execration, nandun yung key factor. But anyways, this will be down to the wire. Both of the teams, hindi ganun kaganda yung stat line when it comes to wins over losses, but maybe this time they can correct kung yung kanilang stat line heading to this series. Let's see what will happen in this best of 3 match. Again, back to the casters.
Yes, at ano nga kaya ang mangyayari dito sa series na to, mga kaibigan? Our final series of the day number 1 ng ating week number 2. Gusto ko yung sinabi, no? Channeling the Hate, daughters. What do you think about that?
Alam mo, ito kasi si Hate, nakikita ko dito yung dating Carl Z. Yung Finesse Solid Carl.
Way back Season 2.
Season 2.
Oo.
Na kaya mag-work ni Carl in the favor of his allies. Kaya niya din mag-work in the opposite side para sa kanyang mga kakampi. Kaya niya, para siyang bomba.
Okay.
Kumbaga, kaya niya sumabog sa'yo, kaya niya din sumabog sa kalaban mo.
Pwede rin siguro dyan yung double-edged sword. Pwede
Yes,
ba yun? Kumbaga,
yes.
it's either you hit or kumbaga, pwedeng
You hit them
mag-backfire.
or you hit yourself.
Okay.
Yun lang.
Oo.
So, the thing why I'm saying this is, for double-edged swords kasi, the moment you actually see them go in for a play na sobrang risky, pero high risk, high reward, kailangan mo silang alalayan. Because if you don't, it's gonna hurt you. Kasi yun nga yung hinahanap mo. Kailangan itong mga players na to, maximum uptime sila. Sa pagpa-farm, sa pagkuha ng gold, sa pag-secure ng objectives kasama mo, and just get the map control on and all. Pagka di mo nagawa, that's usually gonna hurt you in ways na they're just, they're gonna get picked off in the places na, alam mo yun, hindi naman dapat sila mahuli, pero dahil kinuha nila yung isang malaking play na yun and they decided to just go for it, it's gonna hurt you in the middle of the process. So, the thing about Execration dito is they have to channel the hate wisely. Kumbaga, channel the hate in a way na kapag si hate pumasok na, dapat lahat kayo ready na din pumasok.
Oo, parang choose your battle wisely
Choose your
talaga.
battle wisely.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with that. And as well, siguro ito kasing team ng Execration, the way I see this team, ito yung parang instinctive type ng team sa MPL. What I mean na instinctive type, mga kaibigan, is that itong mga players na to, hindi lang gumagalaw only on shot calls. Even, alam mo yung pag like Chuck no nandito to sa brush na to or sa bush na to, Hate already knows kung gaano yung pwede niyang, gaano siya kalalim pwede pumunta. Kasi he already know na nandun si Chuck no, regardless of the shot call is nandun yung kasama niyang tank, tutulungan siya na nun. At yeah, and the rest gonna be history.
Let's talk about Etomax dito. Etomax, I think, probably the most improved player for the side of Execration.
At mukhang nagti-TikTok pa siya.
Oo, mukhang nagti-TikTok pa siya. At malakas mag-TikTok to si Patrick.
Talaga?
Malakas mag-TikTok yan.
I see.
Kaya nga laging nasa story niya yung TikTok niya tapos gaganon ko.
Okay.
Sabi, lakas mo naman, Lods.
Grabe pala
Sabi
to
niya,
si ano.
alam mo sinabi niya, pre.
Sige. Ano yun?
Papawis lang.
Ay! Basic lang, no? Binibasic lang.
Papawis lang.
Eto, Max pala, sana all. Pero yeah, well, ito naman on your skills, mga kaibigan. Of course, the bootcamp ng Blue Fire, mukhang relax. Bakit si Unseen parang talagang iniisip niya na talaga yung mangyayari sa laban nila, no? But the rest of... May lang ako sigurong nakita sa kanila, Butters, na wala si Unseen.
Headband. Tama.
May stats kasi yan.
Great analysis. Kumbaga, parang skin, plus 10.
Oo.
Plus 10 attack,
Totoo.
plus 100 HP.
Sa ibang game, may plus 2 AG nga yan eh. Oo, may ganon.
Tama naman.
Well, kidding aside, mga kaibigan. At least, nakikita na natin sila. Kasi yung week number 1, there's a part of the MPL na kulang eh. Kasi we're not seeing the players itself eh. Diba? Pero ngayon, of course, MPL did provide our teams na makita even with this pandemic that we have, napapanood natin sila na mismo maglaro on their respective bootcamps.
Yeah, man, we're seeing right now si Crypt, si Secret, si Unseen, and si Lims. Hindi natin nakikita si Chu. Doon sa may screen natin, but I think si Chu nandun lang siya sa may likod.
Totoo. May isa akong gustong what do you think about putting Fuzaken on the squad? Kasi definitely hindi pa siya naglalaro. They already had 2 series. Ito pa rin yung main squad nila. And I doubt na si Fuzaken yung isa kasi almost nandun na nakalabas yung support. Of course, that's Unseen. Si Crypso gonna be the main tank. Now, Fuzaken most likely hindi maglalaro on this series. What do you think about putting Fuzaken on the 5-man ng Blue Fire?
It would actually put them in a spot na kailangan nilang mag-adjust ulit. Kasi if ever pasok si Fuzaken dito, mawawala si Crypt.
Possibly si
And
Crypt.
pareho kasi role nila. Si Fuzaken is really known to be a tank, yung hard tank talaga na talagang humaharap sa lahat. And I think in a way, Fuzaken dito is more aggressive in terms of just being a tank.
Okay.
Kay Crypt. Si Crypt kasi kahit paano medyo nagpo-pullback pa yan sa mga bagay-bagay. And kung paano siya gumalaw and kung paano siyang mag-set up ng mga kills niya, he's a very calm and calculated person. Pero kapag alam niyang pwede niya kunin yung kill, kukunin niya yun. Si Fuzaken naman, medyo ang nasa isip lang si Fuzaken is to just zone out everyone. Lagyan ng takot sa puso yung kalaban na baka manakaw yung buff nila. And that's one of the things na kaya naging successful si Fuzaken dun sa team ng Sunsparks dati, and that really earned him his first championship. But right now, he is on the side of Blue Fire and not really straying away from the blue color na katulad ng
Makes sense.
Sunsparks, diba? So,
the team pa rin, nandun pa rin yung blue. Pero, well, at least hindi purple. Kasi alam mo nang pagka kasi purple.
Hindi mo pwede gamitin basta-basta yun.
Bawal kasi gamitin yun. Oo. Di ba? Sabi ng mga shoutout sa mga tropa nating army dyan na bawal daw gamitin yun. Going back. Hinanapan ko talaga saan ko pasisingit dito kay Butters yung Pero anyway, mga kaibigan, ito na ang draft natin for the second series. We caught off guard si Butters dito sa kanyang analysis.
Ibig sabihin, hindi pwede mag-purple buff basta-basta.
Hindi pwede, oo. Kaya doon sila ngayon nagkakaroon ng dilemma. Huwag na tawagin purple buff, dapat blue buff na lang. Kasi pag purple, bawal kunin. Para lang yan sa army.
At bakit nga ba natin tinatawag na purple buff at bakit nga ba natin tinatawag na orange buff?
Yes.
Kasi yun po ang nakalagay sa mismong encyclopedia ng game.
Official siya na yun ang kulay talaga ng buff. Yan. Pero yung army pa din ang dapat daw kumuha nun. Pero masyado na ako makulit, mga kaibigan. Ito na, first ban dito, Blue Fire, that's gonna be Kufra and Selena, no? Pansin ko dito sa mga games natin, even on the Bren Esports bans, talagang hindi na pinalulusot ang Selena.
Sa totoo lang, I'm actually surprised na hindi nila binaban yung Farsa instead of Selena. Kasi, I get it naman kung ba't may baban yung Selena. Parang napakasakit sa ulo ng Selena, napaka-annoying. But at times kasi, if you can shut down the Selena, ang hirap bumawi as a Selena player.
Oo, totoo.
But, then again, si Farsa kasi, ang hirap niya hulihin, ikot-ikutan kanya, kaya kanya i-clear wave.
Totoo.
So, in terms of utility, alam mo nang Farsa does more. Diba?
The Selena.
Oo.
Siguro ang ano lang talaga doon is the constant threat na posible. I mean, kasi yung early game advantage, being aggressive, mas aggressive definitely ang Selena. Lalo na sa first, 2 to 3 minutes ng laro. Kasi ang bilis ng burst down with abyssal arrow trap, tapos vision na ibinibigay niya. Pero once you go doon sa mid-game, mas nag-flourish nga, like what you've said, the Farsa, lalo na into defensive stance ng team. Now, the ban, at medyo nasisettle na natin yung ban, siguro kung pagbabasihan natin on Bren Esports, our first series, ito yung mga kadalasan na hindi nakakalusot ngayon sa 10 hero ban natin, Butters. Yung dalawang tank talaga, which is yung Atlas, yung Selena for that, even the Khalid and Kufra. Yan yung apat na consistent na nasa ban natin dito sa unang-unang araw ng 10 hero bans natin.
Sa mga bagong nood dyan at sa mga bagong fans siguro ng MPL, let's just go through the thing that's happening right now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is called the drafting.
Yes.
Na parang ka naglalaro ng chess. Sineset up mo yung sarili mo in a way na parang, alam mo yon, safe ka, pero dapat laging nalalagay sa alanganan yung kalaban. So, you're picking the heroes na gusto mo and you're banning out the heroes na ayaw mo makita sa side nila. So, that's for new viewers. And kung old viewer ka and you get the idea of this, this is new for you then kasi this is the 5-man ban for every side. So, this is literally the 10-ban setup na tinatawag natin.
Oo. Ito talaga yung pinaka-major na patch all throughout ng Mobile Legends. Ito lang, itong Season 6. So, we've been on the same set up all the way from Season 1 hanggang Season 5. Itong mga teams natin sa Season 6, ito yung mga unang makakapag-try, of course.
Not exactly.
For the Season 1?
Season 1 tayo, Season 1 natin is 2 bans.
I see.
And later part pa, mga Season 2, Season 3, tsaka tayo nag-3-ban setup. And right now, this is the second change ng MPL. Pero just to get the history correct, we had the 2-ban setup noong Season 1.
2-ban setup only on first phase. Okay. So that's how OG si Butters, mga kaibigan. Kasi honestly, ako nag-ano na talaga ako for MPL Season 2 na talaga. Yun na yung mga
diba,
time.
alam mo yan, yung mga panahon na inabutan mo na kahit paano. And buti na lang ng mga panahon na yun, 2 bans lang. To be honest, kasi kung na-3-ban tayo nun, feeling ko malala eh.
Oo, sa
konti na hero eh.
Konti pa yung hero kasi mga time na yun eh. That's the reason meron tayo nakikitang mga funny picks pa noon. Diba? Even Johnson, medyo prio pick pa. Those were the times talaga. But ito na, pag-usapan natin ngayon dito ang ban. Now, Execration having the Farsa and the Tamus were in. Ito yung may dalawang hero na medyo maganda yung pinapakita dito on week number 2 if we will be basing on how Bren Esports did their draft kanina. Pero, somehow, Blue Fire, medyo pambrusco yung pick nila dito. No? They do have the Hilda and the Kato-Kacha. Medyo, kumbaga, etong dalawang side lanes ng Blue Fire, enough na siguro to be able to hold their own respective lanes. But, wala pa tayo nakita dito. What's gonna be our hyper carry kaya dito? Okay.
Okay, so, etong show na to, I think this is the Benny Cutie hero.
Yes.
Blue Fire naman on the other side, they have Limbs, Crypto Secret. Sila na yung nakapag-lock dito. I think Limbs will get the Esmeralda. Secret dito is probably going to be the Gatot. And hindi pa nila pinipili yung true hero dito. So, that's a pretty, that's a safe setup for the side of Blue Fire. Execration naman dito, they got the Farsa.
Yes.
They're totally happy with that. They got the thumbs as well.
Yes, definitely. Pero the Valir ban is somehow like a deny pick for Unseen. Tingin ko yun na lang naman yung kulang dito for the side of Blue Fire, yung hero ni Unseen nga and Nichu. But I'm surprised dito sa second series natin that they are not picking their hyper carry on the first 3 picks?
Well, there are a lot of adjustments and madami naman tayo mga hyper carry dito. And it's more, sabihin na natin for both of these teams, I think they prioritize this stuff more or these roles more just to get the flexibility na kailangan nila. Execration dito kasi feeling ko naman, well, not a feeling, but it's statistically proven na Hate has a lot of heroes and Hate even has the Harriet. So, if push comes to shove, if makalimutan dito ng Execration, yung makalimutan ng Blue Fire dito yung mga heroes na ganun, Harriet will be available for Execration. But the thing is, there is a love-hate relationship din para kay Esmeralda at kay Harriet.
Totoo.
Diba?
Saka medyo nostalgic pa sa akin yung I think Execration did already use Harriet. Tama ba ako? Doon sa match nila against, was that? Yung may nag-teleport sa likod, they were going against, that was Aura? Tama ba?
That's Aura. Yung diversion, ginamit sa likod ni Hate. And sadly, hindi niya nakita yung sound cue. Yung sound cue and napita siya. And that could have been their win actually. Nag-scale na sila ng tama doon. Sobrang daling nahulihin ng Aura PH. But sadly, nahuli sila sa likod talaga. Nahuli si Hate.
Saka hindi, you cannot even blame talaga. I mean, yung sound cue na yon, yeah, it's very important. Pero kasi, iba na eh. Kumbaga, that was just like 1 or 2 seconds para process mo yon into your brain na merong nagte-teleport doon sa brushes. And yeah, that was we will be talking that for another day. Pero ang pag-usapan natin dito, the Claude, like pinag-usapan natin on Series 1, is back.
Attribute gain. A lot of teams are thinking, baka pwede na nga talaga yung Claude ngayon. And we're seeing it right now. Blue Fire dito. Kailangan nila mag-adjust dito sa Claude na to. How will you answer this? Execration, I think they're pretty happy with this.
Totoo. It's a Hate hero eh. Isa si Hate din sa talaga na magagaling gumamit ng Claude. And yeah, so offensive-wise dito, Execration dito, I'm leaning towards with them. Somehow dito on the Blue Fire squad, this is the sustain into tanky. Kaso kasi, pag nag-scale ng tama yung Claude, regardless how tanky you can be, kayang-kaya eh. Kayang-kaya ng damage lalo pa sa nerf.
Well, gusto ko to. Gusto ko tong pick na to. This is sabihin na natin, this is very unseen. No puns intended. Unseen talaga. Ito yung mga heroes ni Unseen. Mahilig siya sa ganito. Nana, Natalia, yan yung mga trip niyang gamitin. And I was just about to say na Hylos ata yung pipiliin dito na Execration just because yung 3 frontliners sila is going to hurt a lot or is going to have a hard time dealing with him. And Blue Fire dito, problema nila to ngayon. Esmeralda, Hilda, and si Gatot against sa Hylos. This is probably a bad spot para sa Blue Fire ngayon na nakuha na Execration yung hero na yan.
Exactly. And just going back, Butters, doon kay Unseen, dalawang hero ko lang talaga na most of the time naaalala si Unseen, even coming from the U-level squad nila during Season 5. Etong Natalia and yung kanyang Zask. Doon ko talaga siya nakilala as a player here on the MPL. Pero yeah, prediction-wise, of course, Butters, game number 1 dito sa Series 2 natin, who would you go for?
This is a hard one. Bro, I would go for Execration just because ako, personally, I like the Claude. I like kung gaano siya sabihin na natin, explosive. And I'm happy to see that he's back. Pero para sa akin, ang pinaka-deal breaker talaga dito, para sa side ng Blue Fire, is going to be the Hylos. That's a really hard matchup to go up against.
Yeah. I totally, to be honest, I cannot disagree with you more kasi I'm going go din talaga for Execration. Kasi, I mean, nakita natin mga kaibigan kung paano ginamit ni Coral TC. I mean, bakit nga ba natin sinabing Claude is back dahil doon sa ginawa ni Coral TC during series number 1. Pero mamaya na natin pag-usapan yan dahil ito na, magsisimula na ang second series. Game number 1, Blue Fire versus Execration.
So I would like to emphasize na merong dalawang execute dito, yung side ng Blue Fire.
Okay.
Execration naman, they have a lot of help going in dito for the side of Hylos. So this is going to be a very tanky Hylos. Kung papansinin nyo, 3 hero na yung pumalo sa kanya but they didn't really have enough damage to take him down.
Totoo. Saka calculated niya din to the point na meron naman dyan revitalized bot. Creepsu here, showing off 2 members dito ng Execration. Even eto, Max, di pa sa level 2 dito. But the Little Wanderer will be taken by Hate. Habol sila dito kay Cripso. Di yata nila ito pipigilan dahil nandito Sagit no onto the backlane. But the flicker will be there para sa Hilda. Hate, almost, but not enough, mga kaibigan. Nagkatansyahan lang sila dito, but still alive pa naman dito ang the rest of the squad of Blue Fire.
I like the spunk coming out here from sabihin natin itong si Unseen. Talagang pinakita niya lang talaga na alam mo yon, he knows how to target people, but the thing is yung execute hindi sumakto.
Oo nga eh. Kinulang.
Kinulang talaga. Wala nang ibang punchline. Kinulang lang.
Yup, talaga. Well, almost yun. I mean, kung if ever man na-pick up nila doon si Hate, that's gonna boost them a huge lead on the early stages of the game. Pero ngayon, unang nag-level 4 dito yung Yishun Shin, and they're somehow trying. Medyo nagka-call off dito si Cripso na baka kunin natin. Total, may orange buff dito, hindi pa kinukuha ni Hate. Eh, sabi niya, ako na lang. Sige, mamaya na lang mga tol.
I don't know what's really happening here for the side of Blue Fire. They're just controlling this, and it would put Farsa and the others on notice. At hindi din pumunta si Chudon.
Yes.
So that means Cripso there probably just wasted his time a bit on the rotations.
Yeah, I have to see kung... okay. So, na-reset siya.
Yes.
Alright.
And marireset talaga yan. He's trying to go, oh my goodness.
Ayun na nga, yung talon doon ng Esmeralda just enough killing that Benny Cutie. But Sagito will be taking down the YSS. Habol sila dito. Dito medyo nanganib Creeps as well. Mukhang wala na siyang takas dito. The slow na magagaling from Zagitnu, and that's gonna be a 2-man down for the side of Blue Fire.
Chaknu, the Tower of Power, the unbreakable wall.
Grabe.
The center of the year.
Grabe, no? Talagang minama. Pero what really happened during that time? Nakuha pala ng orange buff dito ng Blue Fire, I think. May buff yung kanina eh. Si Sagitnu.
Yeah, and feeling ko dito, Rob, they're having a bit of a miscommunication on their side. Blue Fire dito. What happened with that Hilda? Tanking that up. They could have secured that kasi medyo matagal walang tao doon if only Chu was there. But, eto na, they're just giving out the setup para dito sa Execration. They're just getting 3 objectives.
Yeah, that was a clear miscommunication. Kumbaga nagko-call na, yun pa yung no? I mean, magkaharap sila definitely. But they were just signaling na, oy tol, punta ka dito sa orange buff, meron pa dito. But, yeah, we'll see kung paano mangyayari doon sa miscom, kung mapapunish ba rito ang Blue Fire. Pero ito na, masyadong aggressive, but going into the back lanes. Eto, Max, Cripso dito, just going in doon sa ating Farsa will not be successful. Sabi dito, lumayo ka sa akin, tol. By ultimate na ako coming from the Farsa.
At nabomba si Cripso doon. Nabomba si Cripso doon. Automatic yan. And things are looking really bad for the side of Blue Fire. I'm not saying this just because Execration has a 2K lead. Ang kailangan mo kasi intindihin dito is kung ano ang ginagawa ng Claude. And Claude is just farming at will. Tatandaan mo dito, time bomb. Time bomb dito yung Claude.
Totoo.
Na kailangan nila pigilan. Yes, they got the TAMs, pero that doesn't change the fact that Claude is still farming.
Totoo yan. I mean, scaling-wise, I would definitely lean towards dito sa Claude over the YSS. Why? Because it's an AOE. Number 2, well, siguro meron namang saving grace doon ng konti Butters kasi Retribution si Hate. So, there's a good chance na baka mataunt ng isang Gato Kacha. Probably, makancel nila yung tawag dito, the ultimate coming, the Blazing Duet. Pero, ang ano pa rin dito, storya pa rin dito, Butters, is slowly but surely nagso-snowball na rito ang Execration.
A Claude with, sabihin natin, with 2 items on his belt is really scary. Chakno dito, pinalo sa ulo si Crip. Si Unseen dito, talagang nahanap niya yung mga tamang target niya. He's finding the Claude, he's finding the Farsa. But what can you do? You don't have enough damage. Cripso dito, try to run away. Cripso will go down.
And he will definitely go down. And Chakno dito, susubukan na basagin yung Torre sa gitna, pero nandun pa rin naman si Unseen, but he was already been seen at revitalize lang, tol. Lapit ka sa akin.
Masyadong masakit sa ulo yung nabigay dito na hero para kay Chakno.
Oo. Parang nahirapan sila dito na pasukin. Yes, nawala yung dalawang S-tier tanks natin, the Kufra and the Atas, but the Hylos is still there. Pero ang ano talaga dito, no, collaborative talaga din yung damage dito. The whole squad, yes, napipick up nila doon sometimes yung TAMS, pero yung threat ng Execration nandun pa rin. I mean, each and every hero, even Eto Max is not even dying kahit siya yung tina-target nung ni Unseen and even ni Kripsu.
And sa Gito dito nahuli man siya, pero it won't really be enough. Kasi kung titignan mo dito yung avarice ni Limbs, yes, hindi pa siya na-take down dito, pero he's playing very defensively. And that only means yung avarice ka dito, hindi niya pa nagagamit talaga to its full potential.
Oo, totoo yun. Pero dito, mukhang medyo mahuli nila. Hate on the back lane, just been killed by Secret. Hindi na siya Secret dahil siya nawala, pero habol sila dito. Mga Chong, Secret, still alive, the glorious pathway. Enough na ba yan para matakas? Pero sabi ni Kripsu dito, habol, very cutie, going into the back lane, and that's gonna be the end. Now, dito natin makikita naman ang weakness nung build dito ni Hate because he's on the retribution, meaning to say, pwede siyang mataunt ng isang gato, pwede siyang ma-burst down once na ma-crowd control ang Claude.
That is true. Walang Purify, walang Flaker, no extra means to escape. But this is the Gillette instant replay, hashtag save the day. Eto Max, doon nahuli siya, doon sa may likod. Look at this. Chakno, ilan na yung pumapalo sa kanya? Ang tapa, pre, kapag pinalo mo ng pinalo, ano nangyayari? Lumalambot. Si Chakno hindi, patigas ng patigas.
Hindi mapatay yung kabayo, no?
Yes. So that instant replay is brought to you by Gillette. Shave the day.
Shave mo talaga yung day natin, but Secret will be taken down. Glorious pathway paharap. Kripsu ang mamamatay. Then it's gonna be a two-man down for the side of the Blue Fire. Limbs dito, pumapalag with the Falling Star Moon. Sagitno still alive with the Cotonut Inferno. Going back into the Turtle. And now, balik na naman ang tempo sa Execration.
Execration dito won't really be scared of going for these objectives. Remember, they have the setup, they have the map control, and they have the retribution. On the other side, para makuha nila yung mga objectives na ganito dun sa may gitna ng river, the Lord, the Turtle, they have to win a team fight. They have to go for a pick-off. 1 or 2 would do the trick, pero pinaka-safe na yung 2 para sa akin with the lead that Execration has right now.
Oo, grabe. Medyo nahihirapan na in terms of din sa map control dito ang Blue Fire. Pero look at the feather airstrike ni Eto Max. Almost killing Kripsu, pero si Hate yung nakakuha sa may bandang likod. Hate, hindi pa siya humihinto dito. He wants to take down Limbs, but onto the back lane. Sabi ni Secret, masyado ka nang makulit, and that's gonna be end. Unseen, just waiting for the right opportunity to pick off. Pagbalik niya doon sa unggoy, siya naman yung binigyan.
Para sa akin, ito si Unseen, yung mga playstyle na ganyan, yung cool, calm, and collected, what we call the CCNC.
Oh, wow.
Sinabi natin,
CCNC.
Pangalan yan. Pero ang tawag ko na sige, CCNC.
Oo.
Na he's not really trying to go for the fight. Patient siya, and he's trying to punish everything na ginagawa ng Claude dito. Ginagawa ni Unseen yung trabaho niya dito for the team.
Exactly. Para siyang kumbaga may bago na kasing tawag ang Signal Ultra ngayon, parang Butters.
Ano?
Team Kalmado. Ganyan, di ba? So pwede yan for Unseen. Kalmado siya, just waiting for the right moment. Talagang napaka-patient niya na alam niyang babalik doon si Hate sa kanyang BMI.
And Unseen is really trying. Yun yung maganda dito. Unseen is really trying to delay. And the only reason why Execration dito is not getting the win at hindi sila sinastamp todo ng Blue Fire dito is because laging may threat yung Claude. Laging may threat yung Farsa. Kapag kayong Farsa nag-feather airstrike, nakita niya, ang gagawin ni Unseen, pupuntahan niya.
Oo, di-disrupt niya yung feather para umalis doon si Eto Max. Now, going back doon sa pinag-usapan before the start of the game, ito na yata yung sinasabi natin na channeling the Hate. Diba? Yung double-edged sword, you hit it or sila yung tatamaan. Medyo nararamdaman natin. Hate was being funneled here, but pag siya yung nawala sa equation, medyo tumatagilid ang vapor dito ng Execration.
Hate can go 1v1 with this Lord. Walang problema yan. And look at this. They're just being very aggressive with it. Si Unseen nandun sa may pinakadulo, Kripsu, hinahabol na talaga nila dito si Hate.
Totoo. Kita mo yung dalawa, Kripsu pati si Unseen.
Sa likod!
Oh, ayun na. Doon sa may bandang likod, mga kaibigan, tumingin kayo lahat sa mapa. Yun lang ang binabanatan nila. That's gonna be Hate. Pero, sabi ni Eto Max, huwag niyong galawin yung tropa ko dahil kayo ang mawawala ngayon. Bawi sila dito. Yung dalawang makulit doon sa likod ay nawala ngayon. Ay apat na ngayon. Si Glimpse na lang ang natira, and that's gonna be it for Blue Fire.
The unbreakable wall, mga kaibigan, Chakno. The Tower of Power.
The Tower of Power. Pero si Eto Max with the feathered airstrike. Wow! What a turn of events, mga kaibigan. From Lord to wiping out the rest of Blue Fire. What a spectacular performance coming from Execration.
Chaknu, my goodness, one of his best games yet. I know matadagdagan pa to. Pero my goodness, Chaknu,
Yes.
iba yung pinakita niyang performance doon. Iba yung pinakita niyang sandigan. Matibay ang sandigan ni Chaknu.
Totoo. Matibay na matigay. And props din kay Eto Max. Talagang siya yung pinipilit na i-pick off dito nung dalawa ni Cripsu and ni Unseen. Then suddenly nung mid-game pinili si Hate na yung target, which is nagiging successful doon yung Blue Fire. Now, doon sa last fight na yon, ang ganda ng ginawa ni Eto Max.
Ano, pre?
Binantayan niyang maigi si Hate. Sabi niya, par, hayaan mo lang kang pasukin. Nandito ako. Babantayan kita, Tong.
Yun yung isa sa mga downside ng Natalia. Alam mo si Natalia, napakataas ang damage output niyan. Pero it only takes one stun to take down na Natalia. And that's the thing. That's a truth na kailangan bantayan dito ng mga teams. Yes, the silence is there. It would really, make it hard para sa isang Natalia na tumakas. And it would really make it hard din para sa Claude na tumakas kapag siya naman yung hinahunt ng isang Natalia. But the thing is, they played it right. Yung mga frontliners nila doon, si Sagitnu, si Chaknu, and si Benny, they did their job. Nakita mo kung paano niyakap ni Sagitnu at ni Chaknu doon. And Chaknu, phenomenal performance.
Yes.
I cannot emphasize on it more. Alam niya kung ano yung lamang niya. He pushed the buttons right and they got the victory.
Yes, definitely they got the victory. Pero pag-usapan pa natin more about this team fight, this series, dahil bibigyan tayo ng mga facts and analysis na malupet coming from Wolf.
Thanks so much, casters. There were a lot of talks about the good plays of Execration, and I definitely agree. I think that this is such a good display of team fight. Definitely then yung kanilang coordination when it comes to execution, very good mula sa Execration. But then again, let's start with the draft. I think that the fight really started in the draft nung nagkaroon tayo ng 5-ban system, nagkaroon ng free access ang ating Claude. There was a lot of bans on early game heroes like that of Roger. I think that at a certain point na ban din yung Lancelot that would have been perfect laban sana dun sa Claude, but Execration did not let that happen. At yung slot nung pagpili nila sa kanilang Claude, it's also very good because it was picked after the last set of bans, and it also prompted the side of Blue Fire na mukhang hindi nila talaga in-expect yung nakikita natin Claude. Now, look at the supports as well of Blue Fire. I'm not a big fan of this. Having the Hilda as well as this Natalia ginamit ng Blue Fire laban sana doon sa Execration, but what really did not happen is yung pag-take nila ng waves as well as the jungles. I think that there's a big scarcity when it comes to the early game damage when taking the lanes, the minions, as well as the jungle that really prevented the Yusin to be successful. And actually, if we look at the post-game stats, we will notice how big of a difference it is actually. But before that, I kind of want to say na etong mga picks natin that we include the physical damage output of Hilda and as well as the Natalia, makikita mo yung kulang nila when it comes to like dishing out damage against jungles. And I always firmly believe that before you control the lanes, sa early game, maganda na i-control mo rin yung jungle. And that's what is lacking for Blue Fire. In fact, Execration, they had so much access to their own jungle that they also had access to the opposing jungle. Ang sinasabi ko, pinpointed ko dito is, dahil sobrang bilis nila, kinukuha yung sarili nilang jungle camps compared to the speed of Blue Fire na mababa. It just meant na mas marami silang nakuha out of the map, even with just the minions. And it allowed this Claude to have so much control of the early stages of the game. And you can see na wala yatang... Oh, there are 2 deaths on Claude. This is mainly from both the Natalia. I believe galing siya para sa Natalia. If not, there was another member that also was facilitated by Natalia. So, Unseen, medyo repeat performance from his previous season performance ng Natalia. Diba? Sobrang lupit niya ng MPL Season 5. And in fact, in this game, masasabi mo may glimpses of how he performed in the previous season. However, ang dami kasing mga problema nitong draft na to mula sa Blue Fire when you're looking at Natalia. Number 1 is kailangan may tumutulong palagi doon sa ating Yison Shin to farm, right? There always have to be someone na tumutulong sa kanya sa pagkuha ng farm, but that cannot come from Natalia. Natalia is an offensive support na gusto mong pumapatay ka ng kalaban. That's kind of true also with Hilda na dependent din sa pagkuha na kill sa kalaban just to scale in the late game. So you have two offensive supports and there's not much that you can do to help your Yison Shin farm. On the flip side, yun yung nakita natin sa Execration. There's a lot of ways for them. Particularly, meron kang isang semi-offensive nuker coming out from the far side, and you also have the defensive support from Chaknu, and his performance on protecting the hate is perfect. Kaya naman, channel the hate. And we can see as well yung sa highlights natin, bukod sa strategic development mula sa Execration, makikita natin kung paano naman nila ginawa yung mga plays, in-execute ng maganda at matalino. Many times in this game, lagi nilang napapunish yung Blue Fire when Blue Fire is overextending. So for Execration, the key was to always punish the movements of Blue Fire. And ang perfect na teamfight dito na masabi ko is around the 6-minute mark kung saan yung kanilang pwestuhan ay napakalupit. Particularly this one. Yung susunod pa pala dito, I'm sorry about that. Kasi ang nangyayari para sa Execration, dahil nagfo-focus yung Blue Fire sa pag-take ng damage, coupled with the fact that they don't deal so much damage in the early stages dahil wala silang mage support, doon na natin nakikita yung pag-punish niya ng Execration. Like this one, actually, ang ganda nung start for Blue Fire that they eliminated this Claude. However, look at the position is, look at how spread itong Execration natin na parang pinalibutan nila yung buong lineup ng Blue Fire. At as a result, doon na sila nakuha ng mga magandang pick-offs, like particularly the Yison Shin. And Execration, they will do this over and over. Alright, ibe-bait nila dito yung mga tanky heroes nila like Sagitno as well as Chaknu. And because of the fact that there's no mage, madaming execution, maraming physical damage mula sa Blue Fire, pero wala sila nung nuke damage that we're looking for in this lineup. That's why Chaknu as well as Sagitno, ang tagal nila mag-survive, and if they do die, madaming kinocommit dito yung Blue Fire. The last clash that I would say really was the nail in the coffin for Blue Fire was the fight against Execration in the Lord area. Ito na yata yun, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, this was it. Sobrang hiwa-hiwalay ng mga members ng Blue Fire na ang nangyari lang yung Execration, pinitas lang nila. Even the backlines, tinry ni Natalia na i-take down yung ating Claude. But unfortunately, na-punish heavily doon ang mga members ng Blue Fire. Our MVP of the game is actually Chaknu. Look at this, 2-0 and 10 performance mula sa ating Hylos. This is us knowing na yung kanyang hero is very fit against his opponents. Dahil nga puro physical damage, puro halos lahat melee. And even Esmeralda is countered by the Hylos. This is why I think this Hylos is such a good pick in this specific game. Hindi man ito yung meta hero, but it really countered a lot of the heroes of Blue Fire. I think this is something that Blue Fire needs to work on. Honestly, Blue Fire, merong promising yung kanilang performance when it comes to individual skills. However, dito sa draft against Execration, it makes you wonder, ano ba na kaya ng Execration? Ano ba yung gising nga ng kanilang drafter ngayon? Kung bakit ganito kaganda yung kanilang lineup and composition against the entirety of Blue Fire. That's something that they need to be working on. And maybe they can start on punishing again their opponents for Execration with this. Now for Blue Fire, what they need to fix, I would say, is yung kanilang priority. Number one is yung priority nila, sino bang papalakasin nila. Kasi I think that there's a little bit of misunderstanding on how they can funnel a hero. Kasi ang ganda nga sana na may offensive supports ka. Diba? Parang it's really promising to really outplay your opponents. But in the grand scheme of things, if you don't have the requirements to kill your opponents at para mag-dominate ng early game, you cannot be successful in getting the funnel strategy off, right? And second is, I think mas disconnected sila ngayon in this specific match. I think many clashes happen na parang hindi ganon kaganda yung kanilang communication. Kaya din naman napapunish sila ng Execration. I don't know exactly what will happen in game number 2, but we do hope that this is not an early night for us. Hopefully there's a full 3-game series, but let's find out how Execration will close out this series if they can. Well, let's see. Back to you guys.
Yes, maraming salamat, Wolf, for that in-depth analysis. And yun nga, paano nga kaya isasara ng Execration to? Pero, syempre, we're not counting out Blue Fire. Yeah, sabi nga ni Wolf kanina, this team is very promising. Meron lang maganda sigurong balikan doon in terms of bakit nga kaya na they chose na to go on an offensive like si Unseen, nag-Natalia siya just for pick ops. Pero naiwan naman nila si Chu not having someone na para mas maging mabilis yung farm niya.
I think the process of thinking doon ng side ng Blue Fire is they really wanted to shut down the Claude as hard as possible. So parang ang nangyari doon is ito nga sinasabi natin, sa drafting, you need to put yourself in a good position while putting the enemy team in the bad position. So, they tried to put the enemy team in a bad position, pero the thing is, nung inisip nila yung mga bagay-bagay, they actually hurt themselves more.
Yeah.
Sinaktan nila yung draft nila mismo. And Yiston Shin, mabilis siya mag-clear wave, mabilis siya mag-kumuha ng jungle minions, but the thing is, hindi niya din kaya talaga mag-isa. And
Totoo.
what happened was, lagi niya kasama doon was si Hilda. And Hilda wasn't even there helping him get yung mga monsters. What Hilda was doing is, Hilda was trying to zone out everyone.
Totoo.
Si Unseen, naggagala talaga sa buong mapa. So, it wasn't really, the best position for them. And hindi nila na-punish talaga yung Claude as hard as possible. So, they just lost the game from there. And I think, for Blue Fire, nandun yung idea ng draft eh. It's just that hindi na na-execute ng tama at kapag kayo mga ganitong setup, hindi mo na-execute ng tama, most likely kayo yung kakagatin na ito pabalik.
Oo. Sila nga talaga. Parang kung parang tinitignan ko dito on Unseen side, I mean for the Blue Fire itself, may part sa akin na parang kinakapos kaya sa hero dito si Unseen. Kasi I mean, banning the Valir when there is a low Yi, even available. I mean, if they're gonna be getting someone from like a mage support, ang dami pang available during the draft. Even Cyclops, even been banning dun sa side ng Omega kanina. Open yung Loyi, open yung Cyclops, open, ang dami to be honest. Pero they chose to, ano yung nalaglag?
Aso yun.
Ay, okay, oo. Yan. Ay, parang nakikita ko yung pagka nagpipicture si Billy eh. May pangalan yan eh, kadalasan eh. I just don't know what the name. But our feed, medyo nawala. But yun na nga. So, ngayon, pag-usapan natin siguro, Butters, bukod doon sa... Bay, tingin ko magpo-Popol and Kupa si Chakno.
Oo, pwede.
Naramdaman ko. Parang
si Popol and Chakno.
Oo, si Popol.
Si Popol and Chakno, yan ah.
Ano na yan? Giveaway na yan sa Blue Fire. Ay.
Hindi, pakiramdam ko yung nag-drop sa kanila eh.
Pwede rin, no?
Tinatanong nila, Dog, anong drop natin ngayon? Anong drop natin ngayon?
Ipindot mo na lang.
Popol. Popol.
Pwede naman, Dong. Pero may lucky charm pala talaga ang Execration, no? Maganda rin siguro yan, no? I mean, aside from the monikers ng mga teams, parang may certain like, sa mga, like sa basketball, di ba?
Yes,
Merong may mga parang mga, like Eagles, mga ganyan, no? Falcons. Pero siguro, we'll have to see that on the other, I mean, sa mga susunod pa sigurong MPL. Pero now, match point to para sa Blue Fire, mga kaibigan. Paano nga kaya? Grabe, may tricks pa pala yun.
Oo, may tricks yun. Ayan Doggy.
Si Bobby.
Saan pa yan si Bobby?
Naalala ko tuloy si Manjin.
Hindi, feeling ko, pagka nandito si Manjin, yung pangalan yan si Bobby.
Oo, si Bobby.
Automatic, lahat ng bagay na hindi kilala ni Manjin, ang pangalan Bobby.
Si Bobby. Bobby Tricks.
Si Bobby Tricks. Well, in a way, it actually helps the atmosphere. Kasi sabihin natin, cutthroat ang MPL. The pressure is always there. And kung makikita mo, the dog just coming in, nag-iba yung itsura nung lahat.
Oo.
Naging mas playful sila. And the atmosphere became lighter. And to be honest, it's part of esports psychology din in a way na to get the pressure out. At para matanggal sa utak mo yung kinakatakutan mo o yung pressure sa utak sa sarili mo. You just have to have fun and the dog helps.
Oo, the dog really helps. Medyo na-stop ng konti doon. Pero yeah, ang ganda ng mga ano. And this is something din kasi na hindi mo mangyayari pagka we are on the MPL arena, eh, 'di ba? Yung mga ganong klase ng factor, having the dog on your boot camp. Pero yun na, take away na 'yon mga tol. Kasi baka PNK na yung maging pick dito ng Execration.
Alam mo, yun nga yung isa sa mga maganda dito kapag nakikita niyo yung mga players natin nasa camera, you don't usually see this. Kumbaga, sabihin na natin, humanizes the players.
Mhm.
Kumbaga, yung mga idol nyo, aside from that, alam mo yan, di ba, mga ano din yan eh. May mga sariling kalokohan din yan.
Totoo naman.
May mga sariling ginagawa din yan. And for this, nakita nyo, yung isang part na execution na hindi usually nakikita, di ba, when playing. But right now, let's go back to the matchups, I think, for this team. I think for Blue Fire, they really have to commit onto one strategy.
I guess.
Kasi when you go for the Yison Shin, isipin mo, Yison Shin ang kukunin nyo, then you wouldn't really commit on it at iiwan nyo siya na parang siya lang bahala sa sarili niya to defend for himself. Then, you're actually trying to do two strategies at once.
Totoo. I mean, yung part na nagzo-zone out, yung Hilda and as well dun si Unseen with the Natalia. Then suddenly, meron silang parang somehow like a funnel na hero which is the YSS na hindi nga naging funnel eh. Kasi walang sumama sa kanya sa jungle. Kasi whenever you say funnel strategy, would like to give all the resources papunta doon sa YSS. So meaning to say, mas mabilis kayo mag-rotate sa map. Pwede niyang kunin even the gold from your side lanes. Pero hindi yun nangyari kay Chu kanina kasi nga medyo bumagal siya. Even, there was a time na siya lang din mismo yung kumukuha ng sarili niyang buff.
Yeah, and sa totoo lang, if and only if naisipan nila mag-invade na lang,
Pwede.
that could have been good kasi isipin mo the capability of a Yison Shin to the early game. I feel naman na may mas potential siya against the Claude. If the Claude doesn't really get the 10 stacks sa Art of Thievery, I think that's going to be a big thing for him. Kaso kasi ang naisip ko doon is when you want to be aggressive and when you're zoning out and everyone is just roaming wherever the hell they want to roam, then that really sets you up na maging aggressive sa lane.
Totoo yun. Saka going back doon nga, yung sabi mo, they should have invade yung buff. Alam ko, halos lampas pa sa kalahati yung nabawas ni Cripso doon sa orange buff na yun before pa siya nakita ni Etomax. And there was also a time na malapit lang din doon yung YSS but he chose na kunin na lang yung the minion doon sa may gilid, sa may top lane, yung malapit doon sa may crab. So, that was a complete miscommunication. In the point din na, sabi si Cripso naman, hindi niya na mabitawan yung orange buff kasi mamamatay na.
Yeah.
Diba?
It could have been a fast. And yun yung isa mga pinaka tinitingnan ko talagang not really game-breaking or that was the play na natalo sila. It was more on the idea na if they got it, they could have made their lives easier. Pero kasi ang problema, parang alam mo yun, they weren't really on the same page at that point. So parang ang nangyari is, ano yung ginawa ni Hilda doon? And nakuha nila information nandito yung Hilda sa orange buff natin. So, merong ibang reaction na mangyayari doon sa may mapa. Tara, go natin yung baba kasi wala naman pala yung Hilda. And ayun nga yung sinasabi natin dito na if ever, yun yung isa sa mga bagay na kailangan mong alalahanin pala sa jungle. Okay? Ang jungle, walang minions na pumapasok doon. So, what does that mean? Napaka-basic lang nung sinabi ko, pero what does that mean? Kung bakit siya sobrang importante, wala masyadong vision doon unless sadyain mo na may vision hero ka doon.
Totoo
so,
naman.
Selena, Popol, yung mga pwedeng tumambay doon at kumuha ng information, wala kang idea kung sino kasi yung dumadaan doon. And that makes your rotation easier na hindi ka makikita ng kalaban at hindi mo kailangan dumaan dun sa lanes na may makikitang minion sa'yo. So, now, the thing is, ang ganda na nung ginagawa ni Hilda walang idea. Tapos nakapansin si Farsa kasi lumilipad-lipad lang siya. Tapos parang, bakit meron pang purple na nandito? May purple marker sa mapa, pero walang tao. Walang buff.
Totoo.
So, makikita mo na doon, parang may exclamation mark na sa taas ni
Parang,
ni Farsa.
Parang
may nagnanakaw.
Totoo. Parang na ano na rin na spot out na rin ni Etomax doon na may possible na nandun sa ilalim ng brushes na yon. Pero yun nga, medyo slight communication. Pero yun kasi yun no, Butters.
Yeah.
Yung fundamentals kasi, especially on the laning phase or early stages, the first minute to the fifth minute nung laro. Yun kasi yung isa sa mahal. Yun yung sinasabi natin the early game. Doon yung mga invade na nangyayari. Then possibly doon din nagbe-build up yung paano mag-snowball going into mid-game. Pero how about ito? Sa nakita nating first 3 matches, Anong mong nostra mo dito sa nangyayaring meta natin ngayon? Like, mas nagiging okay ba yung mga heroes natin on the early game, or mas parang ang bibilis kasi nung laro noon sa may Bren eh. Parang yung early game mas yung kumbaga mas emphasize yung early game eh.
Yes, I think yung drafting ngayon is really, sabihin natin, parang hindi mo siya ma-expect or hindi mo siya masabi na it would go one way dito sa 10-ban setup natin.
Oo.
Kasi kung isipin mo, lahat na nakikita nating talo dito kapag talo ka talaga eh.
Oo.
Kumbaga hindi pa tayo nakakita talaga dito yung pagka natalo, biglang unti-unti nagka-climb up pabalik tapos pumapantay. Hindi ganun yung nangyayari dito. Okay, so ito nga yung sinasabi natin. First phase, para sa mga hindi nakakarinig dyan ng first series, first phase is actually the slot for the bans na respect ban and yung meta ban.
Yep.
Pagka-respect ban, sabihin natin, kalaban mo yung top 1 silong ng barangay nyo. So, ayaw nyo ibigay sa kanya yun kasi mahilig yun sa silong eh.
Oo.
So, you're just gonna ban it out. And when the meta naman, on the other hand, if it's a meta ban, then it's probably the strongest heroes in the meta at that point. Let's say right now, it's going to be the Kufra, the Atlas, yung mga ayaw mo lang ibigay sa kanya. And that only means na, alam mo yun, kumbaga, walang emphasis on banning out other heroes na trip gamitin na itong ibang teams na to. It's just that malakas lang talaga yung certain heroes na to.
Oo.
The second part, Rob, is the
adjustment, oo.
Depende doon sa first 3 picks. Di ba may first 3 picks tayo?
Yes, the first phase. May tawag dyan, just to batin lang. Merong certain tawag dyan si Captain Dexter ng Blacklist International doon sa second phase. Dito daw pumapasok yung mga situational bans and pick.
Yes. And that's actually part of the adjustment. Kumbaga, i-adjust mo na yung drafting mo in a way na parang ayoko makakalaban nito or may naisip akong iba. Ban nyo to. Kasi kapag kabinan nyo to, maka-counter itong hero na gusto ko gamitin.
Oo. Totoo naman. Kumbaga, it's a battle of talaga eh. Minds talaga ng mga coaches nitong both teams na to eh. Para sa akin, ang pinakamahalaga talaga, yung first phase talaga, kasi medyo yun doon magsaset ng tempo. Pero in terms of situational, mas yun eh, no? Kumbaga, na-set mo na yung tone ng drafting doon pa lang sa unang 3 banyo per team. Then yung susunod nun is kung paano na lang kayo mag-a-adjust.
Yeah.
I mean, dito sa natin, no, to be honest with you guys, itong week number 2 natin, this is the adaptation phase ng MPL, no? Kasi all the teams, to be honest, we cannot be able to blame yung mga teams natin if hindi sila agad-agad makapag-adjust on week number 2. Probably we could see a lot different going into week 3 kasi nga na medyo nakita na nila, and of course they will have a week na reviewin yung mga nangyari dito sa week number 2. Pero ang lagi namang nangyayari for MPL is the first team to be able to adapt and create ng magandang draft for their team. Usually sila yung nagiging successful sa MPL.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, kung kayo ay nagtataka kung bakit wala pa nangyari dito.
Yes.
And we're just waiting for the game. And we really want to put the teams in, sabihin na natin, in a good spot.
Totoo.
Maximum potential, play at their maximum potential para mabigay talaga nila lahat sa inyo at para gumanda yung game. Now, keep in mind na this is only MplPh Season 6 week number 2.
Week 2. Kumbaga sa sa pizza, kumbaga kung may 8 slices ang pizza, pangalawang slice pa lang ang nakakain natin as viewers.
And there are a lot of things that can happen. Nakita na natin yung week 1 natin, hindi mo talaga mabasa kung ano man yung dapat, alam mo yun, kung ano man yung dapat nating i-expect. There were a lot of expectations. Sinasabi nila 2-0 si ganito, 2-1 si ganyan, si ganito mananalo. Pero it didn't really happen. Look at Onyx versus Blue Fire. A lot of the viewers really thought that it was going to be a 2-0.
At isa ko doon.
At, ako din, isa din ako doon.
Isa ako doon, not gonna lie, yes.
Not gonna lie. Pero pinatunayan ng Blue Fire sa atin, you couldn't really count them out ng ganito kaaga. What you do is you clearly try to set your expectations na anything can happen for this season. Kasi ramdam na ramdam ko, walang tapon. Wala
talaga.
Season na to.
Totoo yan. I mean, ang gusto ko pa dito rin, aside from sa walang tapon, going full circles, is that meron tayo kasi 'di bang dalawa ng brackets, the Group A and the Group B, and there was gonna be a time, mahaba kasi ang MPL natin ngayon no? And you will be going against on the same bracket twice.
Yes, and I think for this season, we are going to have 60 plus games.
Yes.
Kasi pagka magka-bracket, pagka magka-group yung team mo, pagka magka-group kayo ng isang team, you actually face each other twice. Kapag hindi mo sila ka-group, you will face them once. So,
yes, oo. Medyo ito yung isa sa mga, bukod dito sa 10 hero ban, yun din yung isa sa naging bago dito sa pagpasok ng MPL Season 6. So, to be honest with you guys, kung isa ka sa mga bagong nanonood ng MPL, you are actually on the same page as us na ganito, first time natin to lahat-lahat makikita, and this gonna be a history na maaalala natin na isa tayo sa unang mga nakasaksi ng ganitong patch for Mobile Legends.
Alam mo, Rob, alam ko ikaw yung anchor, pero ikaw
Go lang.
tatanungin ko. Tatanungin ko, pre.
Sige, go.
Ano ba yung expectations mo nung nagkaroon ng 10-man ban?
Mas bukod sa magiging creative yung mga coaches natin is tingin ko mas gagaling yung mga players kasi they're gonna be of course alam ko bawat player ng MPL, they know how to play each and every hero, pero kasi there is a specific hero na talagang papracticein mo over and over like 100 matches in a span of 1 week just to get the mastery ng hero na yon on a specific role. Pero dahil sa 10 hero ban, mas lalong lalawak kahit sabihin na natin na sobrang sila, kumbaga sinasabi nila na confident sila sa hero pool nila, pero iba pa din pag ginamit mo na on the MPL itself.
I do agree. Knowing the hero isn't really the same as mastering the hero.
Yep.
Kasi you can know the hero, play a hero, pero yung playing it at his maximum potential ng hero na yon, that is another thing to go for kung gusto mo mag-practice ng mga hero na yon. Sabihin natin, marunong ka mag-funny, Rob.
Hindi.
Sabihin, pero alam mo kung paano gumagana yung funny.
Yep, oo naman.
So, ibig sabihin, you know the hero.
Yes, I know the hero, but I can't play the hero well.
Pero hindi mo master yung hero. So,
yes.
there's a thing like that. And consistently playing the hero, doon mo nalalaman talaga kung paano gumagana yon. And this is going to be the running trend. It's the sickening consistency. Kahit nakakaumay na siya, kailangan laruin mo yung hero na yon. And that is the trait of a pro player na hindi niya tatantanan yun as long as available yun, gagamitin niya yun.
Totoo. Alam mo yun, naalala ko tuloy yung MPL Season 4 wherein si Venus, his S-test, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that was 19-0 all throughout the whole season Kung if I remember correctly yung numbers na yun, I mean, never natalo yung S-test ni Oh My Venus during MPL Season 4. And it was being forced na nga na binan nun, di ba? Nung Grand Finals. Pero that's gonna be a history for you to check. Pero now, ang pag-uusapan natin is na-open ngayon ang Selena dito sa drafting at kinuha agad ng Execration.
Nakikita ko ngayon ang ngiti sa mga labi ni Max. Trip ni Max to. And mind you, Execration, past seasons, I think season 4, if I'm not mistaken, ito yung ginagamit nila, yung Selena offlane ni Sagitno. If nababaguhan kayo kay Sagitno, siya po si May. Pero may nangyari. Kaya hindi na siya si May. Hindi na siya si Mae. Siya na si Sagitno. Ato sabihin ko sa'yo, ang tigas ni Sagitno.
Nako, yun ang paganda tol. Ang tigas ni Sagitno. Siguro kung gusto nyo malaman, don't forget to follow his Facebook page. Alam ko nakaka-follow ko lang sa page niya. Shout out. I think his real name was Jeff.
Jeff Subang.
Si Jeff
Subang.
Yeah, na-plug pa ng maigi. But ayun na nga. Pero still dito Butters still parehas pa rin yung pick dito ng Blue Fire. I guess talaga.
Tama ba?
Oo.
Tama ba? Oo nga, tama ako.
Tama naman. It was Jeff Subang. Para ito nga, yung pa rin ito lang palang maganda, no? Pagka sa bootcamp ka, pwede ka uminom anytime, any day.
Ayun, tignan mo si Secret.
Oo.
Nagda-drop siya. Anong ginagawa niya habang nagda-drop? Naguhugas ng pinggan.
Pwede, oo. Saka kumuha din ng tubig. Oo, yun ang isa sa mga no? The best pagka sa bootcamp ka naglalaro.
Yan yung tinatawag na responsible gaming.
Di ba? Stay hydrated kasi, Butters.
Huwag mong kakalimutan. Dahil mga viewer natin dyan, wag yung kakalimutan uminom ng tubig.
Make sure. Kasi mas okay nang may panglasa. Di ba? Kahit anong mangyari. Pero
huwag ka mawawalan ng pag-asa pagka meron kang panglasa.
Totoo yan, mga kaibigan. Pero tingin ko dito, inisip ko lang, Butters, so kidding aside, ang ganda ng pick dito na Execration kasi may purple silang hero.
Mm.
Oo. Hindi, seryoso ako doon. Hindi,
Okay.
no pun intended. Itong purple, kasi sabi nila, pag ang mga ganitong hero mo, ikaw lang ang may karapatang gumamit ng Calamity Reaper, yung mga ganon. Tapos the jungle item, ano ba yun? The jungle item ng ng mage. I forgot the name. That was the curse sword ba? Tama ba?
Star Shard.
Star Shard, oo, di ba? Sila lang ang may karapatan yan. So, doon pa lang lamang na kagad dito ang Execration.
And look at this blue fire. They just ban out the Hylos.
Oo.
Hylos!
Bakit? Bakit hindi?
I mean, the Esmeralda is still there. The Hilda is still there. Kapag pinili na Execration yun, then Hylos will be another pain in the something baka dito sa side ng blue fire.
Oo naman. Saka yan isa yun sa nagbigay ng pahirap sa kanila yung Hylos ni Chakno kanini. No? Well, hindi nila alam na PNK na ngayon si Chakno kasi kanina yun yung aso niya.
Hindi, tinanong niya kasi yun. Ano yung baban natin? Balir,
Pero kidding aside mga kaibigan, yung Balir kasi talaga, one of the strength din na hero dito ni Unseen and nire-respeto yon ng Execration.
Yeah. Execration on the other hand, I like the X-Borg. The X-Borg is one of those heroes na parang hindi na masyado pinapansin ngayon. The only teams na gumagawa niyan is Execration right now. They got the X-Borg and yung Aura PH.
Yeah. Totoo. Isa din yun sa mga heroes talaga nila, no? Yung X-Borg.
Yung baga Aura PH, Aura PH special. And
Yes.
sabi na Execration, sige, gamitin na rin natin. Mukha na. And it's okay. It's okay against heroes, like Hilda, Esmeralda. Because it really gives them, a scare. Na baka kapag nasa bugas sila last Insanity, it's still a good chunk of damage. It won't be able to take them down. Pero kasi, for these heroes na gusto mo mag-sustain, you don't want to lose HP ng ganong kabilis.
Totoo. Totoo naman. Saka sustainable din kasi talaga sa lane, no? Itong X-Borg. Pero what's gonna be the fourth pick dito ng Blue Fire? They still don't have an unseen hero. And that's gonna be grabe, no? Sustain is the name of the game for Blue Fire. Kumbaga, yung side lanes nila talaga, ang sobrang tigas. Ang maganda pa pala dito, no, Butters? Selena is not a good hero na lagyan ng isang necklace of Durance. Well, they do have here the answer from the Kagura's name and as well the ultimate coming from Basha.
Kagura dito is picked, and that is a
Definitely that's a hindi.
Hindi just si Selena. You cannot put this parang I would give more priority para kay Kagura kaysa doon kay Selena.
Totoo. Pero I guess it's gonna be side lane siguro tong Kagura, no? Then a defensive side lane naman or the off lane na tinatawag yung kay Basha. Kasi nilalagay na rin sometimes yung Basha sa side. Hindi na siya yung sumasama doon sa rotation sa gitna. But hindi pa natin to nakikita. That's gonna be unseen on the Nana. Wow. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time ng Nana sa MPL Season 6.
Yeah.
Oo. Hindi naman siguro ito yung Nana na marksman. No? Kasi I did saw in a different match na ginamit yan ni Toshi. Pero yeah, I guess this is gonna be a support na mage na Nana.
Yeah, very unseen.
Very unseen. You haven't seen this before.
You haven't seen this before. And alam mo, ito na lang yung sasabihin ko dito. Execration, they have the answers. Nasa kanila si Baksha. I really like their idea na kumuha na sila ng answer from there on out. Uranus and Esmeralda is accounted for kahit paano. But the thing is, can they make the Selena Kagura setup work?
Totoo. Yun pa isa doon no? Tapos especially ang tanky masyado ng mga heroes ng Blue Fire. They do have the Uranus, nandun din si Creep. So of course na naman yata yung gagamit ng Hilda. Wow. Definitely, yung medyo mabagal siguro yung makikita nating early game kasi nga sobrang tanky ng mga hero, hindi agad-agad na mamamatay. Pero how they would be able to sustain the lane, yun yung magiging tanong for the side of Blue Fire. Ito na, match point for Blue Fire. Second game natin on this series, Execration versus Blue Fire. Sino nga kaya ang makakapagtapos ng laban na to?
Yes, Execration ngayon. And Blue Fire, kailangan bumawi ng Blue Fire dito ng isang game para madala tayo ng game number 3. Kapag hindi, this is going to be an early night for everyone kasi 2-0 ang meron tayo ngayong araw.
Oo, grabe. Ang ganda rin ng rotation. Iniwan pala nila no, yung walang nag-side lane for the side of Execration. Talagang 5 yung ikot nila.
Iniwan na nila,
Oo.
hindi na nila hinayaan, and they just go for the very aggressive play. I like this coming out from Execration. Blue Fire on the other hand, medyo naghahanap sila ngayon kung ano ba itong ginagawa ng Execration.
Oo, medyo may ganitong setup din yung Exe before the 4-1 na ginawa nila. I forgot if it's season 4 or season 5. So, pero ito, kakaiba to, mga tol. Kasi ang ikot nila dito, 5 sila. Pero ngayon, nag-dismantle na sila. O pumunta na sa top, doon yung Xborg and yung farm naman nagpunta. So, medyo siguro there's a part doon sa rotation na yon na hindi agad-agad na ma-invade doon si Hate. Kumbaga, 5 kasi sila, just in case lang na mag-i-invade yung Blue Fire, mako-caught off guard nila yon.
Yeah, nagigets ko yung idea dito ng Execration kung bakit nila focus muna yung mid lane. Kasi kaya naman mag-travel nung Ling from mid to bottom ng parang isang iglap lang.
Oo. Kumbaga, hindi rin ganun masasayang yung mga minion waves. Kahit nasabihin nila na wala agad na hero doon sa certain lane na yun.
And in terms of the side lanes, as long as walang cannons dun sa may wave, it's not going to be a problem because as we all know, hindi naman ganun kabilis mag-push. Etong si Uranus, hindi din ganun kabilis mag-push. Etong si Esmeralda.
Totoo. I mean, they're only as strong as the minion that they have during on that specific lane. Pero ayun na nga, yung gulong na gumugulong dito papunta sa may top lane. Ang mobile masyado ng mga heroes dito ng Execration, but as mobile as it can be. Creepsu dito, half HP, palo dito kay Etomax, but still not gonna be enough.
And Chu, they're just being very, very patient. Kung lumapit doon yung Selena, that could have been a kill. Pero eto Max, naramdaman niya and that was a nice play coming out from him. Hate.
Naku po, pero dito Templars of Blade has been used just to get away. Muntik na rin doon si Chu, mga kaibigan. Pero grabe si Chaknu, no? Yung gulong niya from top lane to bottom lane. Seryoso, no? Nakita ko siya kanina sa top lane, nag-uubos ng minion wave. Sabay gulong pababa.
Oo nga pala, may naaalala ko, Benny Cutie Cripso.
Ay, oo.
Naku po. Mahinis.
Spicy. Pero spicy yata rito. If ever man na nakuha ba, doon ni Hate yung purple buff dito ni Chu. Pero yun na, eto Max dito, almost half HP. Malapit na siyang mamatay. But Creepsu going in, masyado tumatakbo dito si Hilda going in for eto Max. Pero sabi ni Chakno, nandito ang aking gulong sa pagtulong sa may baba. Hate, medyo messy ng teamfight nila dito, paring Butters.
Alam mo, the Blue Fire dito, they have the setup on the turtle lane. So, that's good for their side. Walang magawa dito yung side ng Execration and this is one of the ways para magkaroon na lamang yung side ng Blue Fire. They get the turtle and they should be happy with that.
Oo, totoo yan. They really need to be happy with that. Yung sa mga nangyayari dito sa laban na to. And props to Creepsu. Talagang ang galing niyang mang-zone out nung, sa Execration up until doon sa may tier 2 turret. Talagang nadi-disrupt ng maigi. Pero dito, Benny Cutie, almost half HP. Pero out mo na dito. Eto Max, eto ngayon, no? Yes, they have the Selena rito. Pero hindi pa na, mainit. Talagang mainit ang kuya mo, Creepsu.
Si Creepsu dito, palong-palo.
Palong-palo, kumbaga sa tropa mo.
Palong-palo.
Oo, ML no? ML, yan yung tinatawag pagka sa normal na magtotropa. ML na ML ML na ML.
Raptor Machete is now up for Chu. So that means the extra stacks will help him. I can't really see kung ilan ng stacks yon, pero I think at this point it's probably at 8 or 5.
Yep.
5 to 8, nasa ganon. Sa gitna on the other hand, sa may pinakataas, tinan mo yung laban na ginagawa nila dito, si Hate talagang pinipilit niya lang dito si Lim sa baba.
Exactly. Now, this gives me to think, Butters, going in, for sure, the early game, medyo, ito na yan I mean, going into the mid game, tingin ko aabot talaga tayo sa late game compared to the previous matches. Pero mamaya na natin pag-usapan yan dahil dito HP, Etomax, and even Hate is almost half HP. Mukhang magpo-push na rito ang Execration. And probably invade as well the purple buff dito ng Ling.
And ito yung ginagawa ni Chakno dito, ito talaga yung signature niya. Pero the Nana was there to actually help them get him into the Totoro mode
Totoo, Totoro mode, pero not enough to kill doon because the passive of the Nana was there, but the trap will be securing the kill for the Nana. But, eto Max, will be burst out by Chu. Ito ngayon yung tatanong ko pala talaga sa'yo, Butters. Kasi pagka napunta tayo sa late game, sobra nang magiging tanky ng team ng Blue Fire. Yeah, Esmeralda, Hilda, everyone else. And Chu is so mobile na hindi mo rin agad-agad mababurst down.
Yeah.
How it would pan out. Pero mamaya na yan. Templars of Blade has been used by Hate pero not to the full extent. Dahil si Secret dito hindi na nagtatago. Going in, grabe, minamama na nila dito ang Execration.
2 turtles for the side of Blue Fire and that is stopping Execration from engaging etong team na to. Crips who gets called out, Last Insanity pang disengage. Secret dito and the others tatakbo na lang. They know that hindi nila dapat pwersahin yung mga bagay-bagay dito kasi slowly but surely lumalamang at lumalamang sila.
Totoo yan, slowly but surely. Ito pa ngayon ang ang dilemma in terms of having na hyper carry na isang link. Kasi there is no one on the side of Blue Fire. Well, nandun si Chu probably na pwede mo ma-burst. Kaso it's so mobile. Pero mamaya na yan dahil dito pasok si Chu, mukhang mamamatay yung gulong dahil walang tumulong doon kay Chaknu and he's gonna be going down. Pero dito mukhang ina-eye out nila dito si Hate. Will they be able to be successful? Pero samang zone. Look at how Kripsu zoning out Execration. Map vision-wise, kitang-kita nila kung saan umiikot ang Exe.
Now, Rob, clearly, hindi nagpi-pay off etong ginawa nilang Selena Kagura setup for the early game. Pero the thing is, a Kagura could actually scale into the late game as well. Selena just loses the power pagkatapos ng mid game
Oo.
Pero at least may insurance din sila dito. Pero ito yung ginagawa ng Blue Fire.
Oo, ang ginagawa nila dito, Butters, is yung Last Insanity, halos walang damage. But Limbs will be taken out by Hate sa may bandang likod. Enough na ba yun para manalo dito ang Execration? Mukhang enough na nga! Because sabi mo nga, yung payong kapatid, pinalo dito ni Benny Cutie and Sagit2 will be taking the kill. Ang naiwan na lang dito, si Unseen, may passive ka kaya? Sabi ni Etomax, wala akong pake dahil papasok pa rin ako and still nabuhay pa rin naman si Unseen. But what a beautiful team fight na manggagaling sa Execration.
From payong nakasya sa bag mo to Micromatic.
Oo, grabe, no? Pebrela yata yung niyan. Yung mga mahaling payong. Yung pagkahit bagyo, hindi bumabalik tayo.
Secured ang tinda mo.
Oo, secured. Future secured. Pagkaganyan ang iyong payong, tol. Oo. Yan. Eto na, nabuo na ni Army ng Max, may Calamity Reaper. Yan lang yung hinihintay kong buuin. So, Calamity Reaper is up doon sa Army ni Max. Pero dito, Limbs, mukhang hindi pa siya enough dahil hahabol siya rito. Max dito, on the bridge. Pero sabi ni Chaknu, nandito na yung gulong, mga tol, and Hate will be there onto the back lanes. Will they be able to kill dito si Limbs? Habol pa sila dito. Abyssal Arrow. Almost hitting Limbs pero hindi pa din tumama.
Guys, hitbox. Yung hitbox. Ang sexy ng Esmeralda.
Iba. Iba yung bewang niya ni Esme. Pero ito na. Our Gillette Instant Replay, #Shave the Day. Ito yung nangyari. Almost kung titignan mo dito, yung damage, AOE damage coming from Execration, the yin yang overturn, giving a slow and damage as well for the whole Blue Fire. Parang naipit sila doon sa lugar na yun na wala nang labasan or alisan.
And right now, nakikita mo si Chakno dito, talagang pinipilit niya lang niya si Secret dito. Naipit na sa may gitna, the stun is there. Secret dito, mukhang siya tutumba. Play by play na ako, go!
It's okay lang, Butters, dahil masyado ako nag-e-enjoy sa pagtingin dun sa gulong. Seryoso, grabe yung gulong. Ito na, Chakno, grabe talaga. The way the zone out dito ni Chakno ngayon, nararamdaman na natin dito yung lakas ng draft dito ng Execration. Will they be able to be successful? Yun ang tanong. Pero Limbs dito, tamang out lang muna para kay Hate. And still, Max. Wow. Alam mo, seemingly, it's like a messy team fight overall. Pero grabe pag nagpadikit-dikit. Look na, ito na, ang hinihintay nating araw na tumama kay Limbs pero makakapag-out pa nga naman pero hahabulin siya sa likod ni Benny Cutie and as well ni Hate with a Tempest of Blade. But a shutdown, patay pa rin naman siya dito ng Lancelot. Hindi pa sila huminto dito, Butters. Wala silang pakialam doon sa torre. Pero yun na, pinansin na dito ni Max. Basagin na muna natin, tol. Masyado na tayong malalim at mukhang mapapanish yata dito ang Execration.
This is a very bad timing for the side of Execration. Kung papansinin mo, the Lord is now up and malapit sila masyado. Kung manalo ang Blue Fire dito, this could be an easy Lord for them. Pero sabi ni Hate, meron akong ibang nasa isip. Tara, labanan natin. Gusto nila to eh. Ito yung gusto nila eh.
Gustong-gusto mo talaga yan. Channel the hate dito kay Tropa. Oh my God. At from a messy team fight into a very successful one, probably getting the purple buff din as well. Pero syempre, yung signature teleport, pag nakakapatay, hindi pwedeng mawala.
And this is them just taunting their enemies, psychological warfare. Wala mang trash tukan na nagaganap.
Wala.
Pero merong onting asaran na nasisingit.
At nasingit na rin dito. 4th-hour Gillette Instant Replay. #save the day. Ito na yung sunod naman na nangyari from the previous fight. Sabi nga dito ni Butters, ito yung gusto nyo. Ito ang ibibigay namin sa inyo. Unseen has been killed there as the Nana. Now, medyo hindi na natin nararamdaman ngayon yung support dito ng Blue Fire. Kumbaga, parang naiipit na lang yung Nana o na collateral damage nung lahat ng nangyayaring mga AOE. But Arrow, tatama ka kaya. Pero masyadong kitang-kita ni Lims yun. Pero sabi ni Hate, ano naman? Pero out na muna sila dito mga tol. But still, mga kaibigan, this is still an even ball game. Almost 3,000 lang naman yung lamang dito na Execration. And I guess, this is, pwede pa tong magbago. Anything can happen still dito, lalo na, lalabas na ang Luminous Lord.
Gusto ko yung fact na kapag ka nandoon si Etomax sa lane na yun, always ready si Hate umikot.
Oo, totoo.
Kasi he knows na kapag may tinamaan si Etomax ng pana, that's going to be an easy kill for him. Pero doon sa taas may nangyayaring away.
Oo, yung dalawa, si Lims pati si Hate. Kanina pa nagkikita sa side lane. Parang silang dalawa. Now, still, parang pa rin tricky pa din if ever na mag-lord dito ang Execration. I think
bounce taas?
Yun nga. Doon pa rin. Ganun pa din nangyayari. But I think dalawang assassin na yata yung naglalaban doon. Alam nila dito na wala dito si Hate. Probably this gonna be a fake Lord. Okay. Parang hindi pa sila ganun ka-confident Pero almost half HP na dito, Butters ang Lord.
Hate is here as well. They have 2 retribution. Secret dito gets caught out.
Oh!
And Secret will go down.
Yes, definitely go down. Wala yung kunat ng isang Uranus doon sa sakit na binabato dito ni Hate, and Scripsu might be next. Ito na nga kaya ang katapusan ng Blue Fire dahil the whole Execration squad are going in with the last Insanity, not hitting because the flicker out. Pero sabi nila, hindi enough yan dahil hahabol kami dito mga tol. Sa may bandang likod, 3 members dito ng Blue Fire as being zoned out by Execration. This might be a free Lord para sa Execration.
Ang ganda ng team fight na yon at 12 minutes into the game. Nakita mo kung paano yung turn na ginawa ng Execration doon. They realized na nandun na si Hate. They did not focus the Lord. They went straight to the enemy team. Tinake down nila agad si Secret. And the rest is history. Naubos nila yung dapat ubusin din sa side ng Blue Fire. And Blue Fire, they cannot contest it anymore. Kasi the fact remains that Blue Fire dito, they can win the fights, but it needs to be 5-man.
Totoo yun. And I mean, sobrang key player yung napatay nila doon before they took out the Lord, which is yun nga si Secret. And I'm really surprised na na-burst out siya agad doon sa laban na yun. Pero yeah, now, mga kaibigan, the Lord on the side of Execration, they are the one who is leading here. And another, naku po, mukhang delikado to dahil may Lord. Makakatakas nga kaya. Ito na naman, mauulit kaya. But still, makakapag-out naman dito si Secret. Pero hindi, pumapalag pa rin dito. Onto the backlane, Scripsu just going in for Benny Cutie, but the damage will not be enough. Mukhang siya pa yata yung mamamatay sa may bandang likod. Even Hate with the Tempest of Blade under the tier 3 turrets. Habol pa sila dito. The last Insanity! Grabing nabaliw, pero yun na nga, Secret might actually go down as well. Makakabalik pa nga kaya sa base. Sabi nila, but the Lord is still alive. Revitalized has been popped. Pasok sila dito, mukhang pinutupuruhan na rito. Benny Cutie already attacking the base, but walang minion wave. But sabi ni Hate dito, basagin nyo muna mga pre, yung Torre doon sa may taas. Secret will be taken down by the Link. And now, another team fight. Labang na lamang, pasok na pasok. Execration just being a double kill dito for Link. And another kill for Selena. Scripsu will be going down, and Execration just showing who's the boss here on game number 2.
Stellar performance coming out from Execration. Yung course nilang 3, it might have been the support show yung game number 1. But for this game, itaas yung kamay nyo at patunayan nyo na kayo yan.
At may, grabe, sure ako si Billy yung pumapalakpak na yun.
Si Billy pumapalakpak. I just want to put it into your attention, ladies and gentlemen, yung mga viewers natin dito, na that was a very good, that was a stellar performance coming out from the 3 cores na meron dito, yung Execration.
Yes.
They didn't have the lead into the early game. But what happened was, it was good team fights coming out from them. If merong savior dito ng laro talaga nila na hindi, kung bakit hindi napunta sa Blue Fire yung buong early game, it has to be Benny Cutie.
Yeah, definitely. That Kagura.
Ang Kagura play ni Benny Cutie doon, that one yin-yang overturn. Na-overturn yung buong laro.
Totoo. Yun talaga. Yung kumbaga, kung may term na the tables have turned, doon napunta yon sa play na yon from the yin-yang overturn doon ng Kagura. That was on the Lord Pit, no? Grabe. Wow. What a turn of events, mga kaibigan. All throughout, like early to mid-game, kung mapapansin mo, it's like Blue Fire, parang may suntok sila dito. Both of the teams naman talaga may suntok sila. Pero yung specific thing na nangyari doon, from the Kagura na almost na-wipe out nila doon yung Blue Fire, parang nag-snowball na from there.
It really helped yung case dito ng Execration with the team fights that they took, yung positioning nila. Because the thing is, it was really good, looking good for the side of Chu. Dalawang turtle buff ang nakuha ni Chu dun sa game na yon. Hate didn't get anything. Pero, the thing is, it's all about teamwork and execution for Execration.
Totoo. I really like the way you said it's all about execution for Execration. Parang ang gandang tagline, no?
Execution for Execration.
Yes. Pero yun na nga, mga kaibigan, dahil that's gonna be the end of our series for today. Bukas may 3 series pa tayong aabangan. Pero of course, do we have any final thoughts dito before we head on to Wolf?
I mean, it's only day number 1 of week 2. Mainit na yung mga laban. May mga na 2-0 na, 5-man ban, 10-man ban rather. Let's go.
Yes. Ayun na nga, mga kaibigan. My name is Rob Luna together with my analyst dito, no, si Butters. Pero wag muna kayong aalis kasi pakinggan muna natin ang malulupet na analysis na ibibigay at pakririnig sa atin ni Wolf.
Thanks so much, casters. What a performance from Execration. Who would have guessed na kaya na sana ng Blue Fire yung game number 2 after that very good performance at the start of the match. But, of course, channel the hate still prevailed dito para sa Execration, and I like how they utilize the Ling. First, if you want to really break this game down, we'll have to start with the draft, and I think very interesting yung approach dito ng Execration with their drafting, and I kind of wanna really commend yung drafter dito sa Execration kung sino, if it's Zabno or if it's an overall team effort for the team, well done. Okay, why is that the case? I think that the last 2 picks here mula sa Execration ay ang Baksha as well as that Kagura that really surprised the Blue Fire. Not only that, dahil sa mga unang picks ng Blue Fire, they already showed their Uranus. I think this is the 4th pick. And then you also have this Esmeralda naman that was picked first. So imagine this. Ang unang 3 pinakita ng Execration was Ling, X-Borg as well as the Selena. Samantala yung Blue Fire, ang una naman nilang pinakita na 4 since they are the red side. They showed Hilda, Esme, Lance, and the Uranus. Very strong side lanes, very solid mid din in the early stages of the game. But then again, may malaking loophole dito ang draft ng Blue Fire, which is yung pinakita na nila, yung Esmeralda and Uranus. While it's true na napakalakas itong combo na to, imagine if this was controlled by any other team, ang ganda sana. But Execration countered once again. Just like in game number 1 na kinuha nila yung high loss na last pick mula kay Chaknu, now they showed the Baksha. And maybe later during the post-game stats, makikita natin how crucial this Baksha is. Why? Napakasimple. For the longest time, even in the past seasons, we know that the Baksha actually answers the Esmeralda, the Uranus, and any other sustain-based lineup. Now, merong last pick na Nana dito coming out from Blue Fire, and you might wonder, ano nga ba yung ideology? Why they pick the Nana? Well, honestly, I could have sworn na baka Cyclops sana yung ilalast pick nila because that's what they're lacking. Wala na silang mage support. Naban yung Farsa, naban yung Valier, and there's Selena on the other side. Ano ba yung pwede nila i-pick? So it's a toss-up between other heroes, right? I mean, they chose Nana dahil dun sa hard lockdown niya sana against the Ling. And if you think about it, okay, siguro nagme-make sense nga dito yung Molina laban sa Ling and any other hero here from Execration. Plus the fact na may magic amplification ng Nana to go with the Uranus as the Esmeralda sana, that would have been perfect. However, Ling and Hate showed this with the proper timing. Napakalaking counter or napakalaking problema ng isang Ling against the Nana dahil una may burst. Pangalawa, yung Tempest of Blades was perfect to dive the Nana kapag nag-proc na yung passive. Maybe, actually, that's just the draft, di ba? Ang dami agad issues dito from Execration. But Blue Fire, if we see the highlights, they actually moved in such a good manner na makokontrol nila yung lineup dito ng Execration. And it all started with the invades. Honestly, the invade started in the second round of buffs. So this is the first blood. It happened a little bit late. But one thing that I have to take note is yung second round ng buffs ay nakuha ng Blue Fire. Now, this is the third round of buffs. So the first one was, syempre, the start of the game. Next is 2 minutes thereafter. So it happens maybe 2 minutes 30 or 3 minutes. Then afterwards is the third refresh ng mga buffs natin, right? So the second one thing that I want you to understand is nung second, nag-invade dito ang Blue Fire. So that's good. The invade is very good dahil na ginagawa ng Blue Fire, pigilan yung Ling. So that's perfect. However, in this third round, Execration, alam na nila, mag-i-invade ulit to. Alam nila yung emphasis sa Ling and maybe we can punish them because of this. So what happens is, Execration, they braced themselves. Blue Fire still gets this buff. Nakuha pa rin nila to. But look at how well coordinated. Hinintay nila na mag-overcommit yung Blue Fire na nandito na sila sa area na to so that the Yin Yang overturn will hit onto 4 or 5 even members of Blue Fire kung sakaling 5 yun nandun. So any member here from Blue Fire will be hit by that wonderful Yin Yang overturn from Benny Cutie that really set up the play. Tapos syempre, meron kang follow-up na last insanity and they layered it so perfectly well. Even the jump from the Ling is also wonderful. Ang ganda ng timing. And this was that clash that really stopped the growth of Blue Fire. Blue Fire, sobrang dependent nila sa early game because they are running the Lancelot. And honestly, any clash that happened after this won't matter as much as compared to that specific clash na ginawa dito na Execration. That read that they did, yung alam nila na nung second round, in-invade sila. Nung third round, they braced themselves. Hindi nagpapatay. Sige, ibigay natin yung purple buff. Pero yung fact na yung Blue Fire dito ay sa invade, nabasa na move ng Execration. That's perfect. By the way, that play on the Ling, perfect, di ba? Tempest of Blades with the just right amount of timing to dive the passive of this Nana. And like I said, because of that massive punishment coming out from Execration, they were able to pull away from this game and eventually win it 2-0 against Blue Fire. So, saan nga ba nagsimula itong mga laban, itong pagkapanalo ng Execration? Evidently, we can attribute it to the draft just because of the fact that they have so many tools to really control the side of Blue Fire. But I think that the really crucial thing that Execration did was to stop that third invade. And knowing this, this is how you play mind games against your opponents, right? Alam ng Execration dito na ang kahinaan ng kanilang Link strategy is when they don't have those purple buffs. And they kind of read it. At gusto ko yung mastery dito ni Hate, which is our MVP of the game with the 6, 0, and 9 performance. Wonderfully done. At bakit ko sinasabing malupit yung kanyang ginawa? Normally, links, pag na-meet nyo sa mga pub matches nyo or mapanood nyo sa ibang names, nagwawala na sila pag wala silang second or third purple buff. But what Hate did is to really endure. Tiis Pogi, ang tawag natin dito. Tiis Pogi technique. Sige, hindi ka makakuha ng unang purple buff, bawi tayo susunod. And this is also attributed to the fact that Hate's lane was phenomenal in the past season and we can see it being channeled once again. Back-to-back, napaka-lupit na performance of Hate. And really, really good when it comes to performing in MPL Season 6. And really proving me wrong. Honestly, if you've watched some videos outside of MPL, hindi ako bumoto sa Execration just because of the fact that I thought that Blue Fire had something in them. But unfortunately, that fire did not awoken. Hindi nagising yung Apoy, kumbaga hindi nagliyab in specific game. Nevertheless, I think we will have an interview with our featured player of Execration dahil nga sila yung nanalo. And we can interview. Okay, so I think this is Hate, if I'm not mistaken. Hello?
Hello po.
Okay, so Hate,
Hello po.
kamustahin mo naman yung mga viewers natin na nanonood sa inyo ngayon?
Shoutout sa inyo dyan. Salamat sa mga sumusuporta sa amin.
Oo. Hate, nahirapan ba kayo nung game number 2? Kamusta naman yung Ling performance mo doon? Nahirapan ba kayo o nadalian ba kayo sa game na yun?
Nahirapan naman po kasi sobrang lakas ng early nila eh. Parang ang hirap pigilan. Parang ano. Kaya yun na lang, naghintay na lang kami ng proper timing para mag-overcommit sila dun sa ano, sa blue buff ko. Tapos yun. Parang inubos na lang namin kahit ibigay lang yung blue.
Oh, yung third na tinry nila mag-invade, diba? Yung pangatlong buff, tapos yun yung nakuha ninyo. Mabilis lang, describe mo yung communication sa inyo nung medyo lugi kayo sa early. Paano kayo nag-usap-usap para bawiin yung laban?
Sabi, may nag-shot call sa amin ng ano, mag-invade ulit to sa, ano, sa blue, tas limahin natin, ganun, parang abangan namin.
Perfect, okay. Ngayon, eto na lang madami nag-expect sa Execration. At ano pa ba yung pwede naming makita sa inyo? I-hype mo naman yung pwede pa naming abangan sa Execration ngayon.
Ano lang po, mga more improvements lang, parang yung mga pagkakamali namin ng Season 5, parang yun lang, ini-improve namin.
Okay, thank you.
Parang nag-practice lang kami ng ano, nag-practice.
Okay. So last question kasi siguro actually hindi pala question eh. Bumati ka na ngayon, bigyan mo na ng shoutout yung mga gusto mong i-shoutout at magpasalamat ka na sa mga gusto mong pasalamatan. Go.
Shoutout nga pala sa ano, sa mama ko. Nanonood lagi ng live ng laro ko, tapos ano, sa mga pamilya ko diyan, sa mga tropa ko diyan sa ano, sa Pangarap, tapos sa team ko, sa buong team ko, shoutout sa inyo. Tapos sa girlfriend ko.
Okay. Thank you so much, Hate. Congratulations. At we expect to see more from you. Maraming salamat, Hate, of course, from Execration. And saktong-sakto, na-validate dito ni Hate yung kanilang sagot doon sa aggression ng Blue Fire. And you can see a lot of promise for this team. Now, Blue Fire naman, siguro kailangan nila i-fix dito is have a greater pool of their strategies because they really seemed like they're limited in the previous game. Ayun, ang ganda sana. May idea yung draft nila dito. Nag-make sense lahat ng kanilang mga strategies. It's just that it wasn't enough in the end. But this is MPL Season 6. And we know na yung mga best sa ating larangan, the best in the business will really reign supreme. And we are seeing a lot of good stuff. The previous week was full of 2-1s. At least today, it's full of 2-0s. And we'll have a very quick Friday. However, the action resumes tomorrow. A lot of featured matches tomorrow. We'll have another triple header. And that's going to be very exciting. Of course, you have been watching MP